think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something. Hey, I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something.
Okay, now that I've got it pretty much tied down, or all the components and everything done to it, I was trying to do like the big reveal, but my camera skills are lacking. What you're seeing here is a 2019 Pro Angler 14 that I have taken and mounted a set of H-tracks from a Hobie Outback to the side rails of the kayak here, and gave myself the opportunity to put these eye bolts, Yak Attack eye bolts, the paddle clip. Here you can see a better shot of it there. So tying down a fish bag up here just became phenomenally easier. I also, probably in an earlier video, showed you where I took a 21-inch piece of H-rail and bought the extra handles. Now that's the H-track does not come with those handles. Okay, the ends like this here, you have to order those separate. They're like $5, $6, $7 each. And obviously there's 4 of them there and 2 more here. Okay, I'm trying not to make you dizzy, waving the thing around like I've lost my mind. I'll explain the drill bits in that piece of white there in a minute. So those are for the back of the Hobie Outback, where it's a bungee cord. You can buy those rails, and they're called H-track, and replace the bungee cord with those. It's a straight bolt-in proposition. It's easy peasy. I opted to do it this way and use it so I have I can put a cleat up there to tie off. There's any number of things that I can do to the thing. Again, I wanted my Lowrance fish finder up forward, not off of the side over there is where I was, in front of where that rod holder is on the rail there. Simply because I wanted to be able to slide my paddle up and clip it, or a push pole, just set it and rest it in that roller, roller grip right there. I've got another one to go here. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it, but as you can see, this is the full pad kit. I've mounted the Scotty accessory mount rod holders. I have an additional bazooka or rocket launcher, or whatever the hell they call it, that I can mount back on the H-crate. Then I bought another set of the H-rails for a 14-foot Pro Angler, okay, and mounted those back here. Okay, now I had to cut about a foot off of them, and you'll notice that right here there's that part right there, and that's where obviously the steering mechanism and everything goes down into the hull. Right at the end where this handle is where that hole was cut into the rail. So I cut it off just in front of that, and I don't even want to begin to tell you what a 3-ring circus it was to get that mounted, and that one. This one was kind of a straight up proposition. You take everything off and open the back hatch there, reach in and bolt it down. And then I was fortunate enough to get a stand-up, the H-rail crossbar for a Hobie 17, which is a lot wider and allows it to bolt back there. And I figured that if anything, it'd be rather easy to actually anchor up or pin myself up somewhere, stake myself out somewhere, nose down in the current, and just turn around and fish off the rear of the kayak if I want to stand up or fly fish or whatever and lean up against the thing. Now, yes, it's backwards, but it does have these accessory mounts here, so it makes it phenomenally easy. Just, pop those red things and turn the sucker around, then it's facing the other way. I just didn't want it leaning over the top of my head. I mean, I've already got the Dukes of Hazzard roll bar looking thing going already, so I didn't want to go completely batshit crazy. So there it is, with the additional H-rail in the back and the H-track in the front and the 21-inch H-rail accessory mount. And I believe that's so that you can put a H-rail on the sides standing up of an Outback, is what that's for, is what that's designed for. One of the things that you really have to be careful with is you don't want anything that's going to put a whole bunch of torque on this mount, and you've got to have something, a backer, to screw the thing into. So I opted to go kind of the long way around the horse, and what that does, what that means is that you have to take this off, unbolt all these, and rotate the whole thing out of the way, and then you have to take the 4 bolts or the screws mounting your rod tubes, take that completely out on both sides. I do it one at a time. Mark it, measure it, mark it, measure it, mark it, look at it, mock it up 7 or 8 times, because this is kind of a done deal. So then you got to think about rigidity, and when you clamp down on it, you don't want just a washer and a bolt in there. You want something that's going to give it some bracing in this curvature right here, okay, on both of these and back there. So what I did is I went to Amazon, hold on a second, and I bought a 1-inch poly rod, okay, 24 inches long, and this one I was just screwing around with and cut it several times, and was just messing around. Cut it with my chop saw, real easy cut. I cut those down on my chop saw, thin aluminum, and just ripped right through it. And then using this deal right here, this is a 2-in-1 or a multi, it's a drill and a tap, okay, and it's for a 1/4 20 threaded bolt, and it's specifically for thin aluminum or poly wood, something like that you're going to thread. It'll actually thread as it drills, the right size drill, and it'll countersink it. If you see the edge right there, right here, it'll countersink the screw head down if you need it, but it will thread it. And I just held it with a pair of big channel locks. The pieces, they're 3 inches long, and hit it with the drill and just drilled it in. And you need to kind of let it feed itself, because the last thing in the world you want it to do is start stripping the threads out. Okay, that's a very soft material, and it'll melt, it'll get hot, and let it come all the way out. It'll protrude a little bit. I don't know if it's still protruding. You can see where it's a little nipple sticking out there where it melted its way in, a ways in. Then back it out and pull all the shavings and stuff out with it, and it is a perfect thread, like a big bolt for a 1/4 20 stainless steel bolt. So then you reach up underneath here and hold it up and screw it straight into that. So instead of a nut and washer and all that stuff underneath this, it's screwed directly into a piece there, there, and there, and back there. So it's not gonna crack or deform the hull in any way. I was actually talking to Howie at Hobie and told him what I was gonna do. And at the time, I was seriously considering mounting one of these, buying another set of these, and putting it up there as a crossbar so that I could put, if I wanted to, it'd be much easier to use this rail for lights at night, kind of like I said, a freaking roll bar. But I opted to just stay here, especially when I found one at Savannah Canoe and Kayak, that 17 adapter, 17T adapter. So now it's at the right width. There's no tension on the rails there or back there. There's no tension on this at all. I was gonna just pin it because I've got the other piece, because this originally was set up here, okay, and I had done it incorrectly and mounted it with the flanges, with the little flat pieces with the tongue sticking up, and drilled in a hole there and there. But what I've decided I'm going to do is inside this, underneath this track, is hollow, and I think what I'm going to do is be running wire in, or just plug that with some material and silicone it down. But I am going to run some wiring underneath in here and put some 6mm LED bolts here, in here, here, and here. Probably just white, okay? I'm not a big fan of doing any of the green navigational crap. The last thing in the world I want a boat to think is that I'm mobile and I can get out of their way and they run me over at night. So just clear here, here. So there's 4 that'll be shining and that way. And then possibly here and here on both sides, a green bolt that shines straight down, so it'll help attract bait fish when I'm night fishing. I don't do a lot of that simply because this thing isn't rigged with lights. I do have the Yak Attack light, whatever the hell it is. It mounts right there, screws into that thing. I found an extra extension for it, so it's a lot higher, and I'll probably strap it to that so it's not wobbling around. I'm not excited about the rigidity and the strength of this mount right here. I feel like it's putting a lot of torque on this box. Also, I was seriously considering getting rid of this. Number one is because when I assembled it, I forgot that down at the bottom on the inside there's a little tab, and this bungee cord, when you assemble the thing, it comes in a flat box. When you assemble it, you got to wrap that bungee cord around it, and then it comes up, and then you've got all kinds of, you know, you can, it's like easy peasy strapping your rod and reel down. So there's that. Now with this one here, the thing that I would caution you on is, if you decide that you're going to do this, look at it, adjust it. You're going to be taking these off and on 20 times, okay? Because I don't know if you can see it, but not only is this thing curved that way, it's kind of twisted, okay? So to get it to mimic the side of the hull like it does there, I really had to take it apart, play with it, take it apart, play with it. And I just, as a act of, hey, $204, who cares, plus shipping, cut that sucker off right, you know, right about right here, right above the slot that's in it. And that's how long it's going to be, and where it falls, it falls. Finally got it to where I wanted it, because I wanted it to look flush. I'm not real excited about my hacking up my mat here, but you know, it is what it is. I'm probably gonna put some silicone or something right there to kind of seal that in a little bit. I don't know, or I'll just leave it. I'm also considering mounting some lights here, some pin 6mm from Oznium, Oznium. They have waterproof. That means that they can be directly in water, LED bolts. There's a guy on YouTube, Arizona Yak something. He's done it to the front of his, and I'm thinking I'm going to do 2 more here and 1 here in here. That'd give me a total of 4 facing back, plus the flagpole going up. But that's what it is. I know this is getting kind of long, but I wanted you to see exactly and give you some input. My fiance was like, why didn't you videotape doing it? And I'm like, I don't think people want to care about that crap. Maybe I'm wrong. I like it. What would be really cool is if Hobie ever decided on the 14 that they were going to offer the H-track option and the additional rails as an option that you can just buy or order, you know, with the full rail kit on the rear and the front there. I've had a lot of comments, kind of snarky comments from people about my choice to put my Lowrance there, but it's a 9-inch screen. It's out of the way. I don't hit it. Yes, I can see it. Yes, I can slide forward, and no, the pedals don't hit it. I don't have any issues whatsoever. Yes, I can get in and out of the hatch. The hatch is absolutely not touched by it at all. It's not in the way at all. The battery mounts there inside on the mast post. So yeah, that's what I've done. I don't see myself needing to do too much more or desiring. This is where the other little tab was here. Because if you look at the stand-up rail, the 2018-2019 model, it just comes with a flat mount. And that's where I assumed it would go, is here, and then somewhere like here. But I was never really happy with it there. You can see I really torqued it down. I had a lot of a big piece of aluminum underneath there that I was tightening it up into, so there was no stress cracks or anything done to the hole here. Nothing was there, just a little hole now and a dent in the mat. I opted to leave this one the way it was. I didn't cut it because I wanted it to use the mat as a seal, you know, kind of weatherproofing that and that one. And that's what it is. Now this right here was to drill the hole in the hole. I didn't want to have to fight with this bit and use it in multi-purpose for that and you know, all the other crap. So I use that to mount to drill the placement holes in the hole itself. And then this was solely to thread the 1-inch poly. And what I did is I cut it so I could see the threading. And if I go in there, you can see it threaded it pretty well. And it doesn't, just let it feed itself. Don't force it and don't pull it out on the way out, because it's warm and you may want to let it go all the way through and cool for a second. And then reverse it and just reverse it back out and let it feed itself back out and pull all the strings and threads of the poly that was displaced in the boring process and threading tapping process out with it. So that's what it is. Like I said, I plan to put some lights on it, and I wasn't gonna bolt that down, okay? The crossbar, I was just gonna like put a clevis bolt or clevis pin in there so I could, if I wanted to, just by pulling a pin, I could take those little accessory mounts here, unsnap them, and to get this thing to line up right, these are on the outside, these are on the inside. You can see they're reversed from each other so that the way this thing bends, you'll understand if and when you decide to do this. The other thing I found I was doing is, when you buy these, this tube was in this slot and this obviously was in this one, and I reversed it to stand it up a little bit further, when you have it mounted in the front, you want it to lean back a little bit further, and I'm sure there's plenty of adjustment here. You know, you just unscrew this and slide it down and run the bolt that's in it right through it to the other side. There's a nut on that side. But like I said, I was just gonna clevis pin it. I didn't want to leave it loose because I felt like if I was driving down the street with it and it would be folded down, that it would shake and vibrate and possibly split apart. You know, that arm go that way and that arm go that way, and that rod that's $64 go, and I'm back to ground zero. So I went ahead and bolted it down. I may clevis it, so if I just want to switch it out and reinstall it up here again, just move these forward and clamp it here and here, I have that option. And the narrower cross piece for the PA in the front is inside the hatch there. Now, just so you know, if you buy one of those those stand-up assists, okay, and you get the PA version, the PA version comes with a piece of metal, the cross tube, that makes it ideal, fits perfectly up in the front. It's the perfect width across to go in the back, and it will also, that also will work in the front of a 17, a PA17. They're the same width on the nose. But if you put that that stand-up assist in the middle or the rear of a 17, you have to have that wider bar, okay? And that's like $64, and they give you an additional set of these that comes with it. I didn't find it necessary to have them. I had ordered some of these things, and you know, I actually bought it for quite a bit cheaper. My local Hobie dealer, Savannah Canoe and Kayak, had it for a phenomenally less price than $64. Basically the price of those accessory mounts by themselves, I think they're like $24. I paid like $46 for that cross piece with the two accessory mounts. So I thought it was a real good deal, and I jumped on it like no other. So that is a deal. That folds down and travel, and the seat is folded down, and the Lowrance is either taken off or it's folded down, or hell, I just leave it right where it is, because I don't travel that far. If I was traveling very far at all, the seat would come out and the Lowrance would for sure come out. And in the H crate, I don't carry a whole mess of tackle. I have it in the tackle. I have the drop-in bin in here, and basically whatever tackle I'm going to use, I get, and that's the Salt Strong Slam Shady or whatever lure right there. Basically about the only thing that's back there is a rope and some bungee cords. It's a great place to store my anchor. I'm thinking that I might want to get a piece of black tube and mount it here with a cap on it and holes, so I can just set the anchor inside of it. That float is so that it'll float if I ever had to disconnect it from the anchor trolley. I may decide to put another anchor trolley on this side. I don't know. That's a $64 item, and it's a universal, and that's what that one is. So I probably need to get that up so it's not vibrating everywhere and getting loose. But anyways, that's what it is, and that's where it sets. Oh, and I have a cast net inside the bucket. I also felt that if I really was going to start cast netting for bait or whatever, it'd be better off to just move the seat forward, just pick it up, move it out of the way, and stand here and cast net off the side, the back, or the sides back here, instead of risking getting it caught and flipping me off on my head onto a oyster bar, catching that stuff. So that is the Hobie PA14, and I hope I wasn't too wordy, too long-winded. A lot of stuff to digest. Some of the stuff that I did, if I'd had a tutorial, somebody that would walk me through it, it had made it a lot easier and I'd know what I was getting into. But the biggest thing that you got to think about is you could probably get away with a 21-inch crossbar. That's a 21-inch, but it's been cut down about 6 or 8 inches, okay, on the cross piece there. That's not 21 inches from there to there. You may want to just do that. You may just want to get the H-track and just put shorter ones back here. If you put shorter ones back there, then obviously you're going to mount back here, and the 3-ring circus I went through to bolt that down would be phenomenally easier to reach from this hatch right here to right here. And then you've got track. So think it through. Think about the money. Those are like $40 a set, plus the end caps, the ends. This was $204, and it came with them, and you cut it, but then you have to do the whole bend and twist alignment. Same thing here. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. And that is that. If this was of any interest to you or kept you entertained for more than a couple minutes at a time, I appreciate it if you would hit the like and subscribe button. And hopefully, if the weather permits here shortly, I'll be getting out on the water and catching some fish with this thing again. Okay, and my skateboard wheels for when I used to stand the trailer up on its end, take the neck off, and stand the trailer up on its end and slide it in the corner. But anyways, thanks, I appreciate it. Be blessed.